Hello, this is Richard Wilson coming to you from the Red Fort in New Delhi, India. And I spoke last night at a family office conference downtown. Had a pretty interesting 3-hour Uber ride there since the guy got totally lost and down some crazy alleyways with cows and horses and other things blocking the way. But anyways, I wanted to record this short video on valuating high growth companies. I think this is a problem family offices have. It's a challenge for those of you raising growth capital for your own businesses. So I want to talk about how we've approached it recently and got a deal done recently. So basically what we've found is that the problem is that a lot of high growth companies, every month they're growing. So valuating them on, let's say last year's earnings or last year's profits or even last year's revenue doesn't make sense. You really have to look at what they've done the last 3 months or the last trailing 6 or 9 or 12 months. And you might have to annualize the number rather than look at last year's, which might be, if you're 6 months into the following year, the business might have grown by 50%. So they're just not going to do a deal if you try to value it based on old numbers in their business. So what I would recommend is looking at the trailing 12 months and doing a 1 times revenue of trailing 12 months. For many industries, that could be acceptable to a CEO if you're adding strategic value, or 2 times profits. And for 2 times profits, I would look at the trailing 3 to 6 months, annualize it, and then multiply those profits by 2 to come up with an approximate valuation number. And I found that that can be a starting point for negotiations as well. A really fast growing business, it's very valuable in a hot niche. Sure, it might command 3 times profits perhaps. And depending on what strategic value you're adding and whether there's other investors at the table, that'll change what multiple you're going to have to pay. But there's really, about 5 different benefits to investing strategically in high growth companies early on. And I recently spoke with one of the sharks from Shark Tank about his single family office activities, and he told me that he doesn't really like to buy big companies or invest in big companies because he's a business grower. So he likes to get in early like a VC, but go after ideas that need to be monetized and grown and do more of an angel type investment. So here are the reasons why he does this. This is the reasons why we do this. One reason to only do strategic investments and not just invest from arm's length and not be involved in the company is you can influence the success of the company. If you're the one helping drive sales, drive marketing, drive operations, then you're going to be able to influence in part 20% or 50% of the influence and whether the company actually makes it and grows very quickly or not. You'll also be able to see warning signs and be able to correct those quicker. So that's the first benefit. Another benefit is that you'll be able to do the valuation work and the due diligence more accurately and more quickly, and you're going to have more high conviction in the result of an analysis of valuation or due diligence. On top of that, another benefit is that you're going to get deals that nobody else does, because after you close a few deals in a niche, you're going to be able to source deals by word of mouth that wouldn't come to you otherwise, and you're going to be able to get CEOs of operating businesses to respond to your inquiry about maybe investing in their business, where they would just ignore your email if they didn't know that you were focused on their niche and would be able to strategically add value. They might not even respond to your email and get on the phone with you. The other benefit that you can get by focusing strategically is that you can start getting immediate income by structuring a gross revenue royalty into the deal. So you might buy 20%, 50% of a company and negotiate a 10% or 12% or 7% gross revenue royalty paid out monthly with no cap on it. Where if you structured a debt deal, after the note is paid back, you might be left with some equity, but if the payments don't go in perpetuity. With a royalty deal, the payments typically go on in perpetuity. Maybe after you get your money back, they go from 12% to 7% or 7% to 5%. But typically a royalty goes on in perpetuity, and that's a huge benefit of having strategic deals where you're adding operational value, because the way that you explain that royalty to the business owner is that now they have to hire less employees. You're carrying out some of the operations of the business and you're lowering that cost, and you're also not taking a salary like they probably are as a business owner. And this basically evens the playing field and allows you to have your team's resources being invested in growing this business. And I just think that when you combine the effects of valuation, due diligence, sourcing deals others wouldn't have found, so you have less competition as an investor fighting for a space on that cap table, and you combine that with getting a gross revenue royalty embedded, I just think that's an excellent combination of value for single family offices. And I think if you can get around the valuation issue and build a platform business around rolling these up, it can be pretty exciting. We've gotten 1 deal done. We have 3 term sheets being negotiated. So we hope to get done 1 deal per quarter, or perhaps 2 per year. We'll still be happy with, as long as it's on great terms, of course. We won't complain about getting just 1 or 2 great deals done a year. So this is Richard Wilson from the Family Office Club and capitalraising.com, and I hope you'll join us to listen on our Family Office podcast and come to one of our live conferences in Times Square or Miami or another major city. So take care and have a nice time.